Hey guys, how's it going? It's lunchtime, so it's another episode of Roundtable with Steve, formerly Lunchtime Talk with Steve, but you know how we do. I had to change it because the thing is, I have people all over the world, and I think I mentioned this before to you guys. I know I mentioned it before. We have people all over the world. So, what's breakfast time in Hawaii and LA is lunchtime here in Fort Lauderdale, and dinner time out in Europe. So, we had to go ahead and change that up. But I have today with us David Green, and he is the CEO of a company called School Banks. So we're going to talk to you guys about school banks and about how your school can benefit from school banks. All right. We'll be right back with David in just a moment. All right, there we are. We are here, and today we're going to talk to David Green, and David is the CEO of a company called School Banks. So we're going to chat with him in just a second, and we're going to find out more about school banks and how your school could benefit even during the COVID-19 pandemic. All right. So let me just run a quick commercial break. You know how we do. We got to pay the bills, got to take a pause for the cause. So I'll be right back with you, and we will chat with David. You guys don't want to miss this. So definitely share it with your friends, your relatives, everybody else. Let them know that we are on and we have David with us. Okay.
You are now watching Roundtable Steve.
Let me tell you about CCTV RX. With over 30 years in the security industry here in South Florida, they have proven themselves to be the first choice when it comes to security professionals. So whether you're trying to secure your home or your business, there's no other choice. Give them a call today for a free estimate.
Would you like to be more tech savvy? Create your own compelling graphics, sales pages, and marketing tools? Would you like to effectively use social media to generate more leads? If the answer is yes, register for one or all of the 8-module digital marketing series. You will feel comfortable in a judge-free, nurturing environment as we get the work done. My name is Melissa Jane, and I am your tech trainer.
If your car could talk, it would say call Curvin's Car Detailing Service. It's mobile and they can come to you no matter where you are in Broward County. Give Curvin a call, 954-549-8507, and tell him that Steve sent you.
Baby, won't you take me there? I want some real good food to eat. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving.
Well, I know I got what you want. I know you like that diamond shrimp. My southern fish and them geechee grits. My granddaddy make you have a fit. I try to give you all of my best. I do it straight from the heart. Cook it straight from the soul. Come on now. Straight from the soul. Yeah.
is. Come on down to Shuckin' and Jive and Cajun food with an old school groove. Our designers to get your taste palette back in line, baby. Follow us at We Shuckin'.
Okay, we're back, and as I promised, we have David Green with us. David, hey, how?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, because
Looks like you're under the tiki hut. You just hanging out. Are you on Wi-Fi? Hey, David. Hey, David. Nope, I'm still here. I can still hear you. But you're just breaking up. Are you on Wi-Fi or are you on regular? David's I lost David there for a second. All right, let's go ahead and see what we can get him if we can get him back on here. You know how it is when we're doing live talk, you know. Let's make sure. All right, looks like he's back. Hey.
okay, all right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's breaking up. Like if you're on
Okay, yeah, I'm on my phone Wi-Fi, and we're supposed to be vacationing this weekend with my family. So I'll try. Let me see if I can find a quieter location. One moment. I'm sorry.
Are you connected to a hotel Wi-Fi?
No, I'm on my mobile.
Okay. All right. No, we'll make this work. We'll make it work.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And it's supposed to be a nice beach day, but it's actually starting to rain. The wind is blowing.
Where are you?
We're actually in South Carolina at the Hilton Head, one of the resorts out here.
I haven't been to Hilton Head before, but I heard it's really nice.
It is pretty nice. When the weather is nice.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and about your company, and then we're going to jump into a little bit more about the things that you guys are doing. Okay.
All right, sure. So as the thing says, my name is David Green. I am the CEO / founder / original developer for SchoolBanks Inc. What we do is we provide a solution to school systems, schools and school districts that they are able to use for managing student fees, tracking assets, inventory, and enabling online payments. So we're kind of like a financial tool that the local bookkeepers and treasurers use to help simplify their workday. Myself, I've been in IT, I guess my whole career. Started out at age 11 with a little coding and development back then, and went on to college, attended the University of Miami, received my degree from Youngstown State University. We can talk about that later. And then computer science as my degree. And I started out my career in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, which is where SchoolBanks was actually birthed. And then I spent a lot of my career in the corporate IT world, working mainly for a company called Genuine Parts Company.
Okay, cool. So tell me about the idea of SchoolBanks. What made you come up with that? What made you say, because you know how they say a business has to be a solution to a problem. What was the problem that made you create the solution?
Well, and that's exactly how it was born, out of a problem, right? So I had a friend that was the treasurer at the school that I was working at. And at the time, she was a great treasurer. She knew exactly what she was doing, had years of experience, but the workload that she was faced with it was overwhelming, and she didn't have the tools in front of her or at the resources that she needed in order to keep up with the workload. So just as a friend, I asked her if she wouldn't mind if I took her data and did my magic with it and came back with something that was more user-friendly for her. And that was initially the birth of SchoolBanks. It wasn't nice and pretty then, but that was the first version of SchoolBanks at the time.
All right. So when you say you work your magic, what exactly what was her issue, and what was, what did she need to get done? So this way people out there with the same problem would know, hey, let me call SchoolBank.
Okay. Well, so, at that school, they had to manage, I believe it was roughly 4,000 students at the time, and you have to keep up with any fees or obligations that every single student owes. So, for example, when seniors are about to graduate, before they can actually receive their degree, they have to make sure all of their financial obligations have been that process and in that life cycle of a student. So what School Banks actually did is kind of bring that life cycle together. It put everyone on the same workflow within the life cycle and made everyone accountable, not just the treasurer or bookkeeper themselves, but the teachers, the coaches, the athletic directors. Everyone was now accountable, and they were given a resource that helped them to be successful as it related to the financial life cycle of the student.
All right. A question for you though: is there a way that you could go somewhere that's less windy? Yeah.
Sure. Give me just a moment. Give me like 30 seconds. I'll be in a less windy location.
All right. Well, while you do that, I'm gonna run another commercial real quick. I know you like that the Jive commercial because that food looks real good.
All right.
All right. Let's look for a good commercial.
Baby, won't you take me there? I want some real good food to eat. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving.
Well, I know I got what you want. I know you like that diamond shrimp. My southern fish and them geechee grits. My granddaddy make you have a fit. I try to give you all of my best. I do it straight from the heart. Cook it straight from the soul. Now, straight from the soul. Straight from the soul.
Ooh, that's what it is, what it is. That's where it's at, that's what it is. Come on down and shuck it and jive it. Cajun food with an old school groove. Our designers to get your taste palette back in line, baby. Follow us at We Shuck It.
All right, there we go. One of my favorite commercials. I'm telling you, the food is great too. You know.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm back now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you much clearer. There we go.
All right. Nice.
So, and apologize to the family for me taking away from their time. You know.
It's okay because they sprung this on me at the last minute, so they're okay with it. They know I have something to do.
Okay, cool. So go ahead and tell us again. So basically what you're doing is you're taking the financial responsibility of collecting that obligation from the treasurer to all the teachers, so that this way the math teacher knows, hey, John didn't return his book kind of thing. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yeah, so when you look at the whole life cycle, so say without School Banks, they have to do this process anyway. And right now, it's a lot of schools are doing it in a manual way. You know, they have to rely on the teachers to send information in to the treasurer. The coaches of different sports have to send information in. Club owners, or different people inside the school have to send everything into a single person, that bookkeeper or treasurer in the school system. And you know, at each local school, and they're responsible for that information being collected and for that information being accurate. So what we do with School Banks is we allow everyone to be a part of that process and give everyone a resource that helps them to efficiently be a part of that process.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So this way there's no lost paperwork. Oh, I sent in the paper, but you know, you didn't collect the money kind of thing. So
exactly.
So this way the school definitely collects that obligation before the end of the year.
Exactly. They have all the information. It's accurate. And even when the school districts start to run their audits for school inventory and things like that, all of that information, it's already there. It's already available. And it's already done. And, you know, I can tell you the first person, this friend that I told you about that I use it for, their school is still a customer. They've been a customer since 2003. And prior to School Banks, it would take her anywhere from 2 to 3 months to gather all of the information needed to send the reporting to the principal to make sure every senior was accounted for, every inventory item in the school was accounted for. And now with School Banks, you can do it in 30 seconds.
And I'm looking at your website over here, and I see that you actually have a lot of different partners, a lot of schools and everyone that are customers. I see something I know, Carroll City, Miami Carroll City Senior High. I actually graduated from Norland, but hey, you know, Carroll City, North Miami Beach, they're good ones too. Yeah, Alonzo Morton, Alonzo and Tracy Morton, Senior High School. Okay, cool. So you have some really good customers over here. Hialeah Garden. Wow.
Yeah, we have about 30 schools and or districts that are current customers.
All right, cool. So, so where do you see school banks going in the next 5 years? You know.
Definitely a lot of growth. And just to kind of give you a quick little backstory, I mean, to date, school banks was really more of a secondary source of income for myself. Recently, you know, we took the company, and obviously with the growth that we were already seeing, we decided, you know what, we need to really put more focus into this. We should definitely, incorporate it properly, make sure we have the corporate structure behind it, and put all the things in place to turn it into more of a moving vehicle, which it is today. So you know, take that time frame where we had a lot of word of mouth growth, and now we have the marketing and advertising and different things in place to help it to grow. So I can only see it excelling and turning into I would say a schoolhouse name, right? Not really a household name. We're not dealing with houses, but a schoolhouse name that people know about and people are very familiar with.
So this way, when HR people are hiring, they say, "Do you know how to use school banks?"
Exactly. You know, actually, that's actually part of our value add, right? Is being a part of their onboarding cycle, teaching the new treasurers and bookkeepers how to use school banks as a part of their onboarding, and not necessarily something else that they need to invest in or the districts need to invest in. You know, if you're already a customer, we want to do that part for you.
And how big is your team? You know.
So our current team, we have about 10 between 10 and 15 people at any time, and I'll explain that, right? So we have a lot of developers that kind of come in and out as needed. They don't stay on full time, not all of them. We have a couple that are full time. Most of the team is comprised of customer success team members, and that could be anyone from an account manager to a support member or something like that. So a very lean team at the moment, but ready to grow as needed to support our new customers.
And that's one of the things too, because a lot of people don't realize that nowadays it used to be where a company had to be, 30,000 people or whatever. They take up a whole building in New York. Nowadays, you can be just as efficient, and with a few key people, and that's the great thing. I think it's really good because it actually helps one hand to know what the other hand is doing instead of not even knowing who the person is on the 30th floor.
Right.
So
my audio for one moment. For some reason, it switched back.
I can still hear you.
Okay, you there?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm here.
Perfect. All right.
So when you first started this, I know you started it just to help out a coworker, but did you really see that? I mean, in your mind, was it that this is going to get to be the size that it is? This is going to grow like that, or was it just like okay, well, I'm just doing a little something to help her out, kind of thing?
So that's a little bit of the gift and the curse, right? I'm a techie at heart, right? So I'm always looking for different opportunities to use technology to make people's lives better, right? So at the time, I'll be honest, I did not see school banks with the opportunity that it has today. I really saw it as, David Green helping a friend out, and all of that changed. And I think it was about 2008. I had made the move to Atlanta, Georgia. I was at the time I was a resident in Miami, Florida, but I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I was walking through the mall one day, and I had a random school call me out of the blue. I can't even remember the name of the school at the time, but they called me out of the blue, and they're like, "Hey, how can we get school banks? We need school banks." And I was like, "Oh, that's nice, okay." And they were like, "Well, how much does it cost?" And honestly, at the time, I did not have a fee schedule set or anything like that. It was really David Green helping a friend. So I just randomly said, okay, $1,000, just hoping they wouldn't say no. And they were like, okay, where can I send a check? And really, it was that moment that started to turn the light bulb on a little bit. And I would say years later, maybe 2 years ago is when the light bulb really came on, when just out of nowhere, we started getting school districts that would actually call and say, hey, we'd like to know a little bit more about your solution. So that really changed everything. And, we started putting more of the support requirements in place for resources to have in place to make sure we could support a full school district. And, those things were done, which kind of launched us and put us into today.
That's awesome. I mean, that's the kind of story we like to hear. You know what I mean? We definitely like the success stories. And I'm looking at the site. It's a very professional site. It's great, easy to use. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. You know the crazy thing is, how sometimes people sit back and go, why didn't I think of that? I'm pretty sure you got like 1 million people sitting back saying, why didn't I think of that? Especially treasurers at different schools are probably thinking, seriously.
And it's funny, at the time that I wrote School Bank, there were not many online platforms that allowed treasurers to do what they were doing. There were different tools out there. Microsoft Money existed. I think QuickBooks was still around at the time. There were a couple other tools, right? But they weren't necessarily geared to the workflows and processes that a school treasurer would need to adhere to. So they would use some of those tools, but they would have to kind of play around with it to make it work for them, right? So this was one of the few tools that actually worked for them the way that they needed to work and took the considerations into account that they needed.
And I see it's actually available. You also have the app and everything. And there's a student login on the app. How does the student login work? Is this where they pay their obligations?
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. So, of course, if you have the one side of it from the school side where they're entering all of that information, and on the other side of it, your parents and students can instantly create an account. They can log on, link the student account. So if it's a parent, they can link all of their kids. If they have a kid at an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, through a single account, they can link all of their kids, and they can see the student ledgers, and they can make payments as needed, and also verify things, right? Because you don't want to see that you've been assigned a $100 math book that you never had, and that's an obligation for you. So it allows the parents to verify and validate those things that have been assigned to their students.
All right, yeah, and I'm telling you, as I look through the website, it's really, really cool, really professionally done, and that's one of the things. And it's the best part is it's easy to use, because I think that's one of the problems that administrators have, especially like right now. I sit on a few different boards with the Broward County Schools, and one of the problems that we're hearing from the teachers is that a lot of the technology is not easy to use, and they get confused with it. This one right here, there is no confusion. It's like,
So let me talk a little bit about that, right? That's part of our value add too, is making sure it's easy. But having spent some time as a teacher, I didn't just jump into this world. I was a teacher in Miami-Dade County for 5.5 years. I have that experience of when a teacher needs to use technology, it's not necessarily a part of your day-to-day routine. The teachers aren't going to use School Bank every single day. They're going to use School Banks at the beginning of the year, maybe again sometime in the middle, and then again at the end. And it's something that they can use right away. You don't have to remember it. It's very intuitive. And even in my corporate IT lifetime, I always said this statement that it needs to be as easy as handing a baby an iPad, because you hand a baby an iPad, they figure it out. They get to YouTube, they get to all the videos that they want to see, right? You don't coach them through that. And, it's definitely no disrespect to teachers who have degrees and all those things, but I think they appreciate how easy it is to use something that's supposed to do a job. If it takes them 3 weeks of training to use a software, they're not going to use it.
Right. Yeah, the simplicity of it is the draw to it. So what school did you teach at in Miami-Dade?
I was taught at American High School. So you went to Norland. Yeah. We might have to go back a little bit. So I'm 42 years old. I don't know how old you are, but it's been a while since I was at American.
But no, I actually went to American for night school when I moved down from New York to Florida. For some reason, Florida didn't take all of the credits from New York, so I had to pick up. I think I picked up history and math at American High School.
Okay. Yeah.
I drove by there the other day. It looks totally different, though. It's not.
It does. And that was my alma mater as well. And then when I graduated from college, I went back there as a teacher and a football coach for a few years. So, yep.
Yeah, it looks so different. I mean, most of them look different. In Norland, they tore down the entire building and rebuilt a whole new school. So it's like, I'm looking at that, Carroll City. I'm like, wow. Just driving through the old neighborhood. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, spending all the time in Atlanta, I drive back down there, and some things I don't recognize anymore. I used to know exactly where I was going, and now I have to use my GPS.
Yeah, you used to be able to say turn by the bank, and now you get there and there's no bank. It's like,
right. Exactly.
I know, right? So what made you move to Atlanta? Was it what was the draw to Atlanta from Miami?
The housing market. Yeah, I at the time I was young still, but I wanted to make some intelligent financial moves. So I wanted to go ahead and buy my first house and different things like that. And I remember that experience. I started looking for a house, and I remember a realtor taking me to the apartment that we used to live in when I was in high school. And they were telling us that the apartments were selling for $250,000. And I was like, this makes no sense. This tiny apartment is selling for $250,000. And I went. Right. You go to Atlanta and look at $250,000, it looks like a mansion, and I'm like, wow. I just couldn't do it. So that kind of pushed me into the direction of Atlanta, knowing a little bit about the history and, a lot of successful Black people of color in Atlanta. So I wanted to see what it was all about, and thank God it's worked out.
Yeah, because I remember when I first went to Alpharetta, I visited. I used to work for a company that had an IT department in Alpharetta, so we ended up moving up there. It was actually Arby's at the time. Their IT department was in Alpharetta, and also Interim, which turned into Spurion. Theirs was also in Alpharetta, so I've been there a couple of times. And at one point, I even started looking at houses in Lawrenceville, and I'm like, for the price of a condo, of a 1-bedroom or even a 2-bedroom condo here, I could buy a house in Lawrenceville with like a 1/4 acre of land. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is like a no-brainer. And the thing is, people always say, oh, well, it's cheaper because you get paid less. No, you don't. You get paid about the same as here. That's right. That's how people survive, So yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree. It's time to start looking outside of Florida, and I know the people in Florida are going to be upset with me, but
Well, actually, the people in Atlanta are going to be upset because the traffic is already terrible. Yeah, so
going around that circle is crazy. It's nuts, man.
Exactly.
That's the one I didn't miss about it. The only place that had worse traffic was LA. LA, oh God. You might as well ride a bicycle, you get there quicker.
I totally agree with you. I spent a lot of time traveling in my corporate days, and LA was by far the worst. I could not understand it. I mean, Atlanta's bad. Don't get it wrong. Atlanta's bad. I mean, it went from, it used to take me 45 minutes to get to my job. By the time I decided it was time to move, it was taking an hour and a half to get to work, almost 2 hours to get home. And if it rained, it was 3.5, 4 hours. So, yeah.
I could get from here to Orlando in that time, but hey.
Exactly.
Man, but so a person now that wants to get with you with your school or with school banks, if there's a school that wants to get with school banks, even now with the COVID, how are they going to do it? What are they going to do? How do they get in touch with you?
So a couple easy ways. Obviously, through the website, we have those contact forms. You can actually book a meeting with an account rep manager right online at schoolbanks.com. And also, you can call us directly. And the best number there is our 770-685-6330. Just call that number or go to the website and fill out one of the contact forms, and one of our account managers will reach out to you shortly.
What was that number?
Might even be myself. That number again is 770-685-6330.
All right, I'm going to put that right up on the screen so you can connect to it. You know what I don't like is it takes telephone numbers and turn them blue. I don't know why this does that. It's so crazy.
That's all right. I see it. It looks perfect.
Marie Huntley was saying, no, we're not upset. That's the decision that's the decision. That's why she left. Hey Marie, how you doing? Marie actually moved out to Colorado, as a matter of from here in Broward County for the same reason. The housing market, it's crazy. It's crazy. And as a matter,
it's great if you already own something. If you already have property down there, lovely. You know, you can charge rent and get your money's worth, or you could sell it and live great somewhere else. You know,
that's gonna say charge rent here in Fort Lauderdale and then just move to to Atlanta or wherever, so that this way the rent can cover most of them. Because this,
exactly.
Marie, I gotta congratulate her too, because I saw a newspaper article about the stuff that she's doing out of Colorado. As far as things like the Black Lives Matter movement, and also things that she's doing with different organizations in order to bring social justice over in the area where she lives in Colorado. And she's being well received over there, which is great, because a lot of times people go into other areas and they're not received well. And she's being very well received from what I saw in the article. And I just got to congratulate her on the things that she's doing over there. So that's what I like.
Congratulations.
So when you came up there, well, of course, Atlanta's a little bit different, because, like you said, that's like the mecca for Black business. When you went up to Atlanta, did you find that actually helped to boost your business? Did you find that the schools up there were doing were receiving you very well?
That's an interesting question, right? So when I moved to Atlanta, I originally started out working in a school district. I won't name the school district because I don't have a great story. Nothing bad about the entire school district. It was the experience I had at that particular school with particular people. So I'll leave that out for the conversation. But what that did is it actually framed the wrong idea about doing business with the school district in Atlanta. So recently I have been able to connect with the right people in the different school districts. And now I'm learning things that are a lot more positive. So I can honestly say, like, to date, we don't have any school districts inside of the Atlanta area that are school bank accounts, but we're actually talking to a few that are very promising, and actually a few that may close here in the next week or two. So that's actually a very good. And I think it was just all about connecting with the right people. And I think you can say that about any situation. So maybe it's partly my maturity, right? And kind of not generalizing my experience to an entire district, but maybe meeting some different people. But now I can say it's definitely different. I think it will be very helpful being in this area, not only from a standpoint of building a company from a revenue standpoint, but hiring the right people. I mean, there's a ton of talented individuals in this area, and I don't have to go very far to find the right talent.
Mm-hmm. So when a person, when, let's say, for example, the school approach you about joining school bank, so about getting, how does that work? What's the price? Is it expensive? Because I know the first thing that most of the schools are going to say is we don't have a budget, and that's always the biggest thing. We don't have a budget. So what's the price like on school banks?
All right. So let me tackle it from this way. Everyone doesn't have a budget until you show them the value, right? And so one of the things we start talking about is we take the football teams, for example. On most high school football teams, you have about 50 people who have anywhere from $500 to $2,000 worth of equipment that you check out to them every year. And then I ask the question, how many times do the students walk away with a helmet? How many times do the students walk away with shoulder pads or game uniforms? How much does it cost you to replace it? And when we ask those questions and they start saying, well, it's, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 sometimes that they have to replace with that equipment. And then I tell them, well, you could have purchased this system for maybe half of that price, and it will have helped you to not lose that inventory or at least allow you to track it so that you can make sure that you bill the student who took the equipment, you know, and didn't return that equipment. So now they start to see the value of it, right? And we do have a price point for like small teams. They can get started for $9.95 per user per month. But if it's a school or a school district, we prefer to talk to them because we have a calculation that we do to help determine what their actual cost will be. So it's hard for me to say right now exactly what that cost would be. But it's determined on the number of teachers, staff members, and basically different people that will be accessing the system.
So, but with the school, typically it's only like maybe 1 or 2 people accessing the system, though, right?
Nope, not really. So the way that we do it, there's 1 or 2 main stakeholders, right? But we try to bring everyone into the process. So, for example, you know, a treasurer is not handing out helmets to the football team. The coach is. So you give the coach access so that they can assign those helmets to the players, right? Same thing with band, you know, band outfits and uniforms and different things like that. Sometimes the students don't pay for those, or they don't buy those outright. Sometimes they get loaned those things. Or teachers are the ones that are handing out books and iPads or computers and things like that. So you want to, what School Banks allows us to do is actually get that touch point closer to where the activity is actually happening. So the teachers have access, so they can enter the information in, but the treasurer is the central focal point who has to make sure those things are accurate and make sure they're audited, and they are the ones that usually take that data up to the next level.
All right, that's good. See, and that's what I like. I like when you can just simplify it to someone like me that doesn't really know. You know, that's really good. Right. So I was looking at Marie's comment, and Marie was saying, "Congratulations to you." She says, "You know, that congratulations on your persistence and dedication to changes, changing Atlanta as well. Sometimes you got to get up and go to do something new." That's true. I mean, you know how it is. You know, we would like to stay in the same neighborhood, in the same area, but and now look at it. You not only are you in business for yourself, but now you're vacationing in Hilton Head. You know,
right? Exactly. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, let me run a quick commercial break real quick. I'll be right back with you. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.
This is Lamont Rucker, and you're watching Roundtable with Steve.
Let me tell you about CCTV RX. With over 30 years in the security industry here in South Florida, they have proven themselves to be the first choice when it comes to security professionals. So whether you're trying to secure your home or your business, there's no other choice. Give them a call today for a free estimate.
To be more tech savvy, create your own compelling graphics, sales pages, and marketing tools? Would you like to effectively use social media to generate more leads? If the answer is yes, register for one or all of the 8-module digital marketing series. You will feel comfortable in a judge-free, nurturing environment as we get the work done. My name is Melissa Jane, and I am your tech trainer.
If your car could talk, it would say call Curvin's Car Detailing Service. It's mobile and they can come to you no matter where you are in Broward County. Give Curvin a call, 954-549-8507, and tell him that Steve sent you.
You take me there. I want some real good food to eat. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving, shucking and jiving. I want shucking and jiving.
Well, I know I got what you want. I know you like that jive shrimp. My southern fish and them geechee grits. My granddaddy make you have a fit. Right on. I try to give you all of my best. I do it straight from the heart. Cooking straight.
shucking and jiving, Cajun food with an old school groove. Our designers to get your taste palette back in line, baby. Follow us at We Shuckin'.
All right, there we go.
So I'm gonna tell you where I'm going. That shucking and jiving. That commercial.
Okay.
I need to check it out. Is that in
Yeah,
Miami?
it's in Miami. I'll tell you some of the best
Okay.
food.
What- All right, I will be visiting there when I come down. Might have to make it down for a Hurricane game. You know, check them out.
I
And
see
I'll
you
go
throwing
there.
up that you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you go there, just make sure you tell me you saw it on my show, okay?
I sure will.
All right. So what else? What other projects do you have that you might be working on? I mean, School Banks it tackles one issue, but are there other issues with the schools that you think you guys might be able to solve? Because of course there are a lot of issues with schools.
Right. So you know, I'll tell you, a lot of times when we make phone calls and we're doing our prospecting and things like that, you know, because we do reach out to schools as well. We don't wait for them to contact us. When we're reaching out, we're talking to a lot of schools that are struggling with their virtual education. You know, we don't want to just say, well, we're here to sell you something else. We want to be a partner, right? We need to be a solution provider. So we have actually partnered with another company called iTod LLC. It's also an Atlanta-based company. And if we talk to a school that is struggling with their virtual education and they need some help kind of getting it going, we'll actually kind of link that partnership and we'll work with them in that aspect. You know, it's not something that is, you know, direct revenue for School Banks, but I think the idea is being a good partner and forming long-lasting relationships. And I just believe that, you know, if you put that best foot forward and you're showing your willingness to help them through something that's truly troubling them, I think they will see you as a viable partner when that other need comes up as well.
And that's true. So let me ask you, the virtual education, how did that change what you guys what you're doing? How did that change your business model or your business structure? Because now you know, the kids aren't in school, or are they in Atlanta? I'm not sure.
So some school districts have opened their doors, others are hybrid, and some are fully virtual. It's a mixture of everything, right? So our solution is more of an add-on or an improvement to their already existing needed processes, right? So they have to do these things anyway. Where we actually benefit them the most now is that with students being remote and there being zero touch, you know, we allow this process to happen while the student is remote. They don't necessarily need to come into a school building, because what you see in some schools is there's a line outside of the treasurer's office, a line of 20, 30 students standing outside of the treasurer's office that are going to pay their obligations with cash, or just find out, hey, what do I owe, or I want to go to grad night, how can I pay for it? Different things like that. So we give them that digital avenue to make it happen, that web-based avenue to make that happen.
And actually, right now, it should work out even better, because now with the schools handing out laptops to the students, then now they want to make sure they get those laptops back. And that's one way of tracking that obligation, which is a lot more than a football helmet or a book, because now you're talking $500 or $600 laptop. So definitely any school out there that is handing out equipment, whether it's laptops, whatever, printers, whatever they're handing out to their kids, definitely they should be getting in touch with you, because they want to make sure they get back the same equipment that they put in.
I agree. Especially I can tell them, if you're using Excel or Access or your notepad in the corner to track these devices, please give us a call so we can help you out.
Yeah, definitely. Because Excel is not going to be the greatest thing to tell you.
It's not going to cut it. Excel is a great spreadsheet tool, don't get me wrong, but it's not the tool designed for managing your inventory. I think I just lost you.
No, I'm here. There we go.
Right.
Yeah, I hit the mic button by accident. But so Excel, your program for School Banks, is it going to track inventory as well? So like, do you track the asset tag and stuff like that, or how does that work? or do they just say, Steve, give me a laptop?
No, so we do it both ways, right? Some schools actually they want to track the actual inventory. Whatever's in the closet, they want to know what's in there. So we help them do that. And then others, they just want to assign something, and at that time they want to recognize it as an asset. So we do it both ways. It's two different starting points, right? And it's up to the school how they want to manage it. However, where we do benefit them is, like let's say we do sign that iPad out to a student, right? At the end of the semester or school year, they need to return that. We have a check-in process. So with a check-in process, they can denote it as being damaged, or that it was lost, or or they can even denote it as sold. They can actually add their own status updates to it, because some schools are letting the students, buy them at a very discounted rate and different things like that. So they can notate the status, and based on the status, will determine what happens next. So for example, if it's marked as lost or marked as damaged, then that becomes an obligation that the student now owes to the school.
So what if so let's say in one aspect it's damaged, but still usable, like just scratched up or whatever. Can the school do a partial obligation on it if the laptop costs? Okay, because these are a lot of different things too. I'm telling you, program right here. I mean, so let me ask you. So let's say, for example, next month, Mark Zuckerberg comes along and say, David, hey, I want this program to be part of the Facebook family. I'm going to offer you $1 billion for this program. What's your answer?
If they offer me $1 billion, that means it's worth about 10. So I'm probably going to say, how can we partner? I'm not going to sell it to you, but hey, let's partner in this, and we'll figure out how that partnership looks long term.
I like that answer. Because a lot of people would say $1 billion. Okay. Nah, like you said, if he offers you one, it's worth 10.
Right.
Maybe 20. You never
right.
know.
And I'm not necessarily thinking about me with that. I'm thinking about, I have a son on the way, be here in December. I'm thinking about his grandkids. How do I help set them up for that? And, really talking about our community, that's where we miss a lot out on. We don't have that, wealth built up in our family lines. Some of us are the first people to graduate in our families, so whether it's high school or college, sometimes we're the first to graduate in our family. So we don't have that long line of wealth. So I would take that as an opportunity to start building that wealth. And that's what School Banks is too, as well. That's why I made that shift from a very comfortable, very good, very high paying corporate job to now into this jungle of being an entrepreneur,
And right now you so School Banks is doing so well that you're actually able to just do School Bank full time, correct?
Yes. And what happened is it kind of made me make that choice, right? We started getting some districts signed on, and you had to make the decision of, okay, am I going to stay on this path, or am I going to go down this other path? And I'm a praying man. I prayed about it, and God spoke to me and told me that I want you on the School Bank path, and that's where I am.
That's good. That's what I'm talking about. and this is what I like to see, I like to see young Black people making things happen and doing great things, like you said, this is something that's gonna impact a lot of people. It's gonna touch a lot of schools, a lot of lives. Some students aren't gonna get away with it, so they're not gonna be too happy. but still look at it this way: the money that comes back into the school helps the next generation of students.
Right. Let me talk about really quickly from another aspect of it too, is you say the money in the school is the petty cash aspect. And I something you said made me think about this. So we also help them track that petty cash that moves about through the school. So a lot of times there's teachers that collect money from students. There's coaches, there's club leaders, different reasons why other people collect money from students. I used to be the yearbook teacher when I was at American, and everyone paid me for the yearbooks the first year. The second year, I was like, I'm not doing that, because I don't want $30,000 in my drawer that has this little bitty lock on that I'm responsible for. I was like, no, you go down to the treasurer's office and they can call me and tell me that you paid, and then I'll give you a book. So that just tracking those things. So now knowing that, hey, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so has, collected $500. And now that treasurer expects at the end of the day, at the end of the week or whatever, they expect to see $500, from that teacher. And it really helps with that thing. And it's funny. It's a help, but then you run into people who are like, well, I need some plausible deniability. So I don't know if I need this in my environment.
But the thing is, I mean, yeah, because if you could pay it at the treasurer and it shows me over here that you paid it, then like you said, I don't have to collect it, because that's like the biggest thing. Because I mean, if you're keeping that money in your desk drawer and someone breaks into it, even if they just take out $10 or $100 out of it, they're gonna say David's responsible for that money.
Exactly.
What about small businesses? I mean, because I could see where this could actually be, something for other businesses as well. Things like YMCA or even, what do you call that? I don't know if the library actually has a good tracking system or how they do their tracking system, but they lend out equipment a lot of times too. So maybe even like some of the smaller libraries, those would be good things.
So oddly enough, I have had other people contacting me about our core functionality and how we can expand that into different areas. And I'll say for right now, we're focused on our current customer base. I mean, there's 15,000 school districts in the U.S., public school districts in the U.S. That's a very large customer base to service. So we're going to focus on this for a while. But we have entertained a few other things. I won't talk too highly on, not highly, I just won't talk about most of them right now because they're in infant stages. But one of them has to do with like the sports world and has to do with, kind of tracking students and young athletes from their first day outside participating with a recreation or something like that, all the way through a professional career should they get to that point. So we're talking with someone about that. And, we may potentially talk about how we can use the core functionality of School Banks in that arena. But outside of that, we're going to stay focused because I think it's a large enough customer base to focus on. And I think the school districts kind of need and deserve that level of attention from us.
Yeah, that's really good. That's awesome. I mean, I wish you the best. I definitely do.
Thank you.
Give us that 1 minute, wrap up that 1 minute nugget of information that you can leave with our viewers, in our wrap up time.
Okay, let me see what I can throw out the hat here, right? So, obviously every school system needs the ability to track their finances. Every school system needs the ability to track the financial life cycle of a student. School Banks gives you that opportunity, and it gives you that opportunity with simplicity and ease. We can compete with any other solution that is available to you today. Where we win and our value add is that we become a part of your family. We become a part of your solution. We help you with your onboarding of new treasurers, new bookkeepers, and we keep things simple. That's the one where I definitely want everyone to remember is that it's simple. And I encourage everyone, try it. You can actually create a free trial today. You can go online and create a free trial today. And you can see just how simple and easy it is to get started with School Banks and being able to improve your day-to-day business processes. How'd I do?
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, David, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you being on the show. The information that you gave us is definitely needed. Especially now that schools are trying to save as much money as possible. It's something that's really needed. And with all the obligations that they're giving out, the laptops, all these different things, not just to the students, but to the teachers as well. So it's so great for them to track all these different things. So again, I thank you very much for being on the show, and you have an open invitation to be back on the show anytime you want.
Thank you. I would love to join you, and many blessings on your show, man. I'm gonna now that I know it's out there, I'll definitely be checking in from time to time.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Guys, so there you go. There you have it. Information about School Banks. You guys really should be looking into it if you work at a school, if you're a treasurer at a school, or any organization similar to a school, anywhere that you can use this. If you give out take these earbuds out. If you give out any kind of equipment and you need to keep track of it, you definitely should be using School Banks. All right. So guys, again, I thank you for watching. I thank you for, for just being here and just being part of the Round Table with Steve family. All right. So check out our website. If there's anything that you need, don't be afraid to ask. And definitely reach out to someone that you haven't spoken to in a while. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and do a random act of kindness for a stranger, because tomorrow you may be that stranger that needs the random act of kindness. You guys have a good one. See you tomorrow. Please visit lunchtimetalkwithsteve.com